Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Um, Hope you had a great day, and just thank you so much for tuning in to my super chat. Thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams, and it is important. It is HA on Thanksgiving. Thank you, Durf. Thank you, everyone. It is important to understand something. The Democratic Party and the media are gearing up. They're getting ready. They are digging in their heels. They're getting ready to react to anything that could interfere with Hillary Clinton's fundraising or just Hillary Clinton in general. Clinton is the money-making machine for the Democratic Party. The Clinton Foundation is a gigantic global money-making racket. That's obvious. David Sirota of the International Business Times broke the weapons deal story. The New York Times broke the Uranium One story. The Associated Press broke the 85 donors gave $156 million, and then suddenly were miraculously rewarded with face-to-face meetings with Hillary Clinton. This is the Associated Press. This is the New York Times. This is International Business Times, the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal broke the UBS story, the Boeing story, other pay-to-play schemes are all documented. The response is, oh, well, you can't prove anything. You can't prove that money going into the Clinton Foundation corresponded with positive, beneficial feedback for the donors. Everything is looked at as an isolated incident. That's just, certain countries got greater weapons deals because of donations. UBS got, better treatment because of donations. Uranium One got its deal through because of donations. You can't prove that. Meanwhile, the extension of logic with Trump, if somebody that Trump met for 2 seconds, no money exchanged, but somebody they were saying because Papadopoulos, there was a photo of Papadopoulos in a meeting with Trump, that he was a direct tie to Putin. Ralph Nieves. Ralph, thank you. Thank you, Ralph Nieves. Thank you. Thank you, Ralph Nieves. Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Ralph. But they were going to impeach Trump no matter what. This would be an excuse for them. What Trump needs to do. So all of this, and yesterday I read the Politico articles regarding Donna Brazil's article that she wrote about the DNC virtually being controlled by Hillary Clinton. And then before that, the state Democratic parties, and how the money they raised, $60 million, 98% of this money was filtered into the Clinton campaign. Hillary Clinton raised $1.2 billion. There's no other candidate, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Joe Biden, they're not going to be able to raise 1.2. Well, the media might help them get to $1 billion in this day and age. But if Clinton runs again, she's going to raise 1.5, maybe $2 billion. Who knows? You're going to need to outspend Trump 2-1, because Democrats outspent Republicans 2-1. They didn't even get the Senate. That's the reason. It's one of the reasons, in addition to the media barrage, they got the House. So they outspent Trump 2-1 in the election, and I knew they would lose. So, it's like, if you had an even playing field, if the media was just somewhat objective, I'm not talking about frothing at the mouth. Like Trump is going against Republicans are going against a media that does not give him credit for it. In one of the responses on my videos the other day was, you're an idiot. You think that Trump was a good president? Yeah. Did President Obama get anywhere close to peace between North and South Korea? I saw a video today of North Korean and South Korean troops at the DMZ, soldiers actually talking to each other and shaking each other's hands. So, hello, Ben. Thank you. So, I mean, you're not going to get an objective assessment of Trump. It's only going to be his rhetoric. It's only going to be, and then things like climate change. Then they forget there was an oil. What was it? He was viewed as an oil president, President Obama. Obama used ICE to deport 2.5 million people as well. So let's see, oil Obama. How Obama became the oil president. He once talked about plans to reduce oil consumption. Now the U.S. drills more than ever. What happened? So this is Mother Jones. This is the same Mother Jones involved in the Steele dossier. Okay, how Obama became the oil president. This is 2014, by the way. Considering all the talk, and they're writing this in a manner they don't realize that years down the line, H.A. Goodman will read and simply shed light upon the legacy of President Obama. Considering all the talk about global warming, peak oil, carbon and divestment, and renewable energy, you'd think that oil consumption in the United States would be on a downward path. By now, we should certainly be witnessing real progress towards a post-petroleum economy. As it happens, the opposite is occurring. U.S. oil consumption is on an upward trajectory, climbing by 400,000 barrels per day in 2013 alone. And if current trends persist, it should rise again both this year and next year. So when you have Tom Steyer and you have other people who are like, oh my goodness, my goodness, the global warming, Trump doesn't take global warming seriously. Well, neither did Obama. But Obama, from Standing Rock to oil, it's always, thank you, the individualist. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. The individualist. No, this is serious. Press 1 if you'd like me to do more gym videos, and be honest. Press 2 if you'd rather I don't. And that's fine, because I just like my foray into, I want to get a little take of almost 500 people watching. The individualist, thank you very much. I saw that. Thank you. Press 1 if you'd like me to do more gym videos, because I might even take a video of myself in the batting cage. Okay, then you know what? I probably 5. Yes. So it's somewhat. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness! So a lot of people don't like it. So there you go. So I'll probably hold off on them. Well, there's ones, 2. Ha ha ha! That Pat won. So it's mixed. I think I have a little bit more ones. Mostly ones. But I'll probably thank you. I'll probably hold off for a little bit. Probably lose a little weight and then maybe, thank you, Sean. Maybe go back to do it. But I do appreciate your honest feedback. Let's see. So the irony of President Obama's oil legacy. So you have the irony of President Obama's oil legacy. There is great irony that spans the presidential terms of George W. Bush and Barack Obama. President Bush, widely viewed as a Texas oil man, presided over 8 straight years of declining U.S. oil production. In the year 2000, just before Bush took the office, U.S. crude oil production averaged 5.8 million barrels per day. During President's last year in office, U.S. crude oil production averaged 5 million barrels per day. The irony is that President Obama, who is not viewed as a friend of the oil and gas industry, has presided over rising oil production in each of the 7 years he's been in office. So there you go. From that low point in 2008, U.S. Oil production has grown each year to reach 9.4 million barrels per day in 2015, a gain of 88% during Obama's presidency. This is the largest domestic oil production increase during any president in U.S. history. This is the largest domestic oil production increase. This is the largest domestic oil production increase during any presidency in history. Can you say hypocrite? Can you say hypocrite? They're hypocrites. That's all they do. They're hypocrites. All they do is condemn. All they do is pretend that they're more intelligent. All they do is say, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, Trump doesn't really care about climate change. He doesn't care about climate change. He doesn't care about science." Democrats love to appeal to authority. Their appeal to authority is like, they just love to appeal to authority. They love that. They love that. Their thing is they need to appeal to authority. This is the largest domestic oil production increase during any president in U.S. history. I would love to, and because I love Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku and all these astrophysicists and these great scientists. What do they think of this? What do they? This is the largest domestic oil production increase. What a great environmentalist. He presided over the greatest expansion of fossil fuels. This is the largest domestic oil production increase during any presidency in U.S. history. President Obama has reminded the country of this fact during previous State of the Union addresses. So our imports have fallen, but our production increased. So it's like the largest reason for the decline in imports wasn't the investment in clean energy that President Obama first mentioned. It was the 4.3 million barrels per day surge in U.S. crude oil production. So it's like President Obama is walking a fine line and calling attention to this surge of oil production during his presidency for two reasons. One is that he wants to be known as a president who took decisive action on climate change. How can you take decisive action on climate change while increasing oil production? But presiding over a huge surge of oil production isn't exactly synonymous with combating climate change, unless, of course, you couch the issue in terms of reduction in oil imports. Then it sounds kind of positive for climate change. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Inside Scarlet, happy Thanksgiving, HA. We're all very thankful for you. Much love and blessing to you and your family. Inside Scarlet, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thank you, Inside Scarlet. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for always watching, and thank you for your support and kind words. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, Inside Scarlet. Colin Mackin, happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you. Thank you, Colin. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yeah, I mean, so happy Thanksgiving. Madge Mac, he did it all without being shovel ready. Madge Mac, thank you. Yeah, and it's interesting. Corey Finley, thank you for being here since the beginning. My goodness. Corey, thank you. Inside Scarlet, Colin Mack, Madge Mac, thank you. Um, so why do I bring this up? Because they don't care. The left is like basically a cult. Thus, President Obama's legacy will certainly be that he presided over dramatic expansion of U.S. oil and gas production. But if you dig a little bit below the surface, you'll find there's a lot more to the story than that. President Obama's legacy will certainly be that he presided over dramatic expansion. So they soften it by saying, well, he increased investment into clean energy. 7 years ago, we made the single biggest investment in clean energy in our history. Well, what does it matter if you've increased oil production? If you had the largest domestic oil production increase during any president in U.S. history. So he goes and he says in the State of the Union, here are the results in fields from Iowa to Texas. Wind power is now cheaper and then dirtier conventional power. You have expanded American oil production. Again, he's expanded. It's been the largest increase during any president in U.S. history. But look how this sounds. 7 years ago, we made the single biggest investment in clean energy in our history. Here are the results in fields from Iowa to Texas. Wind power is now cheaper than dirtier conventional power. Rooftops from Arizona to New York. Solar is saving Americans tens of millions of dollars a year on their energy bill and employs more Americans than coal in jobs that pay better than average. We're taking steps towards giving homeowners the freedom to generate and store their own energy, something environmentalists and Tea Partiers have teamed up to support. Meanwhile, we've cut our imports of foreign oil by nearly 60% and cut carbon pollution more than any other country on Earth. But you've made up with any advancements you've made in the environment, you have overshadowed by the fact that you've presided over, quote, the largest domestic oil production increase during any presidency in U.S. history. So, again, this is the Obama legacy. Sounds really good. In a State of the Union address, sounds really good for marketing. Crazy Eddie. Need vid proof HA can drive stick next. Crazy Eddie. Yes. This is what I mean. So when they're going to go after Hillary Clinton, when they're going to go after Trump for indicting Clinton, we'll get to that in a second. When they're going to go after Trump for indicting Clinton, they're going to do so. And they're going to do so as retaliation. Because Clinton's real crimes pale in comparison to Trump actually indicting her for those crimes. See, that's not the way Democrats work. You think Jimmy Kimmel, you think Bill Maher, you think all the morally superior intellectuals in Hollywood have read the irony of Obama's oil legacy in Forbes? That he presided over the largest domestic oil production increase during any president in U.S. history. These are fossil fuels. These contribute to climate change. I thought this was a matter of life and death. I thought this was a matter that wasn't politicized. The largest expansion of U.S. oil production ever. Obama has presided over America's biggest oil boom ever. Money. CNN money. So again, then you have the climate change issue. Address climate change. If we don't address climate change, we are done for. if we don't address climate change. And Trump doesn't. He took us out of the Paris Treaty. Oh my God. Well, Obama signed the Paris Accords and then presided over the largest expansion of oil in American history. So we import less, but we produce more. How does that help? How does that help with fossil fuels? Donald Trump's potential energy secretary took President Obama to task for trying to destroy the U.S. oil. Excuse me. Excuse me. Believe it or not, Obama has presided over the biggest oil increase in oil production in American history. The greatest oil boom in this nation's history has occurred during the tenure of self-proclaimed environmentalist Barack Obama. They don't care. This is CNN. I'm tweeting all this out. They don't care. The greatest oil expansion ever took place under President Obama. And they don't care. If it doesn't fit with their marketing, that's okay. The point is that they don't care. That's the point. So when they're going to impeach President Trump, once they indict Clinton, it's just going to be par for the course. It's just going to be what they do. You can't expect rationality from Democrats to the media. They simply create their own reality, and if they have enough people saying the same thing, like President Trump is a tyrant, President Trump should never have indicted Hillary Clinton. Because he indicted Clinton, it doesn't matter if she committed crimes, but we have to impeach him because it's an abuse of power. Now they're talking about phrases like abuse of power, unconstitutional, rule of law, abuse of power, rule of law, unconstitutional. George Rivera Jr., thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Ask yourself if you have an electric car, where does your electricity come from? If from a coal or oil-fired plant, the majority of your electric car pollutes more than a 73 Buick LeSabre. That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if with the emissions, I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but yeah, I mean, the carbon footprint, you're probably right. Making the car and utilizing electricity, you're probably right. Thank you, George Rivera Jr. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's just one example. That's just one example. And I guess that this is a long-winded point, but it's important because look at the rhetoric on climate change, and then we'll get to Clinton indictments. Look at the rhetoric on climate change. Life or death. You know, the Trump administration to release climate report on a day hardly anyone will see it. Here's one. Well, that's in London. But protesters are like, we can't get arrested quick enough. Then California's on fire and Democrats control the House. It's time for a Green New Deal. Yeah, good luck on that. That'd actually be, if it doesn't tank the economy, a very, very good thing. I was a proponent of that. If it doesn't tank the economy, what they'll do is they're not going to pass a Medicare for all bill. They're not going to pass a federal $15 minimum wage. They're not going to pass an abolish ICE bill. Medicare for all and abolish ICE were the two major policy objectives that they were yelling and they were pontificating on, and they felt so good, and they got all these young people, and they got all the progressives, and that they got that to propel them. They still couldn't get the Senate. They lied through everything. So the Earth is in a death spiral. It would take radical action to save us. Well, there you go. If we are in a spiral towards, the end of the planet, and President Obama presided over the greatest expansion in oil production in American history, then what does that make President Obama? Does that make President Obama part of the problem? Of course not. Not to Jimmy Kimmel, not to Kathy Griffin, not to all these wonderful people in Hollywood. No, he's amazing. He's the best. President Obama is what we should strive to be. He's amazing. The future of the planet is at stake with climate change. Why the next 3 months are crucial for the future of the planet. October 2018. Oh my God. And then you had the greatest expansion in oil production in American history. And you had window dressing. Oh, look, we also invested in new technologies, green technologies. Okay, yeah, great. Big deal. Okay, so this is my long-winded point, and George Rivera, thank you so much, George Rivera Jr. But we get to Clinton. He's a tyrant. He's going after his enemies. Trump going after Clinton. Rivals. He's going after his rivals. And then you have Alberto Gonzalez, who is a former Bush attorney who I can't even talk about because YouTube policies will not let me even talk about what this gentleman defended. And as if the Bush administration didn't preside over endless criminal behavior. But see, the Bush administration, the Obama administration, they worked within the gray, shadowy area of bureaucracy. They got everything through bureaucracy. And they had the media help. The media gravitated towards power on the right with Bush, and then the media gravitated towards power on the left. The media gravitates towards what it considers to be the powerful, the DC establishment. Trump is not a DC establishment person. They can't stand his personality. They can't stand that he doesn't revere the CIA. They can't stand. Then you have young people regurgitating this ridiculous line. Oh, well, he's making people distrust government. Yeah, good. He's hurting trust in democratically elected institutions. Good. Maybe you should distrust Broward County. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's actually quite a good thing. Samuel Stafford. Thank you, Samuel. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, HA. God bless and keep up the fight. Samuel Stafford, God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. And this year, this upcoming year is going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be really interesting. It's just going to be really, really interesting. Samuel Stafford, thank you. Luke St. Martin, hello. Happy Thanksgiving. Samuel Stafford, happy Thanksgiving, and thank you as always for your support. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And this year is going to be, I think, retribution for all of us. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Former Bush Attorney General Alberto Gonzales rebukes Trump for reportedly seeking to prosecute Clinton Comey. Oh, let's see. When Dick Cheney went after Valerie Plame, what was that about? Former George W. Bush administration Attorney General Alberto Gonzales on Wednesday criticized President Trump following a report that Trump sought to prosecute two of his political adversaries, calling it a very, very serious situation. You know what? Bring it. Trump needs to say, bring it. CNN, Bush, Obama, let them all say, he has to bring it. He has to bring it. Because when you have former attorney generals, when you have former Bush officials teaming up with former Obama officials and the intelligentsia of both parties saying that Trump is committing an unlawful act. Meanwhile, you ask these people about the Steele dossier, they just shrug their shoulders. No problem. Why was the Steele dossier no problem? And why is indicting Clinton a problem? Because the Steele dossier was obtained and it was utilized through official means. It's not, to Samuel and everyone here, it's not the morality, it's the manner in which you achieve your goals. If you work through the system, they're happy. They're happy. Alberto Gonzales has worked through the system. He was a Bush attorney general. Eric Holder, Loretta Lynch, Alberto Gonzales, they were at the height of power. Eric Holder in criminal contempt of Congress, the only the attorney general ever to be held in criminal contempt of Congress. Alberto Gonzales, the only attorney general ever to really talk about something I can't even to defend something I can't even discuss because of YouTube policies. I can't even bring up the word because then, it's an issue. Loretta Lynch meeting with golf between with Bill Clinton to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren. The Steele dossier, well, it was funneled through Clinton's law firm and purchased that way. Oh, that's fine. The Steele dossier was utilized by the FBI. We know that James Comey and Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok were crooked, but they held the title and they utilized the Steele dossier. We still don't know if it's 100% true. It could be. But they utilized all of this through official means, even if Clinton purchased them. CrowdStrike, that is crazy. Well, Steele dossier is crazy too, but CrowdStrike was they just outsourced a company, Clinton did, and the DNC, and they utilized that. But it's okay because the NSA and the CIA and the FBI through Comey and Brennan said it was okay. So everything is fine. The media then if the media is like, well, if Brennan says it's okay, then it's okay. If Brennan says it's okay, then it's all right. Samuel Stafford, thank you. Again, what'll happen is he's gearing up. He's getting ready to indict Clinton. He has to. Trump has to, for the survival of Republicans are stupid too. They're really stupid. Like the average Republican is really stupid. They don't realize this is a matter of survival for the Republican Party. The only reason Republicans got Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and very likely Amy Coney Barrett, possibly, the only reason is not because of people like Sass and Flake or McCain. It's because of people like Trump and Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows and Devin Nunes. Definitely not because of people like Trey Gowdy. President Trump is the reason that the Supreme Court won't take away your rights. Anna, hello. Happy New Year. Coming up. Clinton indictments would be great for everyone's Christmas. We live in a democracy and you don't go after political rivals. Mr. Gonzalez, Alberto Gonzalez, that's what the Bush administration not only went after political rivals, but they went after Dan Rather, the press. They actually did make him, because of a fake news story, that was like he lost his job. Now, if you just type CNN, that's like fake news is like their actual job. He's not going to go after a political rival. She committed crimes, and it was a cover-up. Again, it was a cover-up. James Comey covered up. Well, you don't know that. Yeah, you do know that. Yeah, you do. Peter Strzok's own words state that. The Inspector General the Inspector General report, Michael Horowitz, endless bias. The fix was in the entire report, and then he says, "Well, the prosecutors didn't have bias. The prosecutors weren't given information. If you don't give a prosecutor the weapon, the body, the location, the time, the suspect, then there's not going to be any indictment." Yet, if if that took place, you can't say, "Well, you know what? There was no foul play." The Michael Horowitz stated there was no prosecutorial bias. He made that distinction. These people are the biggest scoundrels. They hide within semantics. They hide within the gray area of logic. They hide within the gray area of logic. Press 1 if you don't think there was that much difference between President Bush and President Obama. Press 1 if you don't think there was that much difference. Well, they are the cowardly lion part, absolutely. Press 1 if you don't think there was that much difference between President Bush and President Obama. Exactly. Exactly. Because there wasn't. John Miller. Because there wasn't. Thank you. Yeah. There wasn't that much difference. You had one president who presided over Iraq and Afghanistan. You had one president who presided over Libya and actually increased not only oil production, but militarism throughout the globe. The President Obama, at the end of the day, did not correlate with the majority of liberal talking points surrounding his legacy. He presided over the greatest expansion of U.S. oil production in history. Yet, when you look at climate change, it's like, OMG, the planet's going to end soon. So then you have the former Bush Attorney General, we live in a democracy. We live in a democracy. We live also in a republic, and you don't use a Steele dossier and then get Mueller to harass a president for 2 years. You don't go after political rivals. That's what Obama did with Trump. He went after political rivals. Even before Trump was president, they were investigating Trump based on nothing, based on no evidence. Before he was president, we'll stop. We have an insurance policy. Peter Strzok was never taken to task regarding that. And Sticks is 100% right regarding the Republican Party. They're the cowardly lions. They had the Senate, they had the House, but at the same time, they were afraid to do anything. They were afraid to do anything. And I don't think that he would have been impeached, because I have a very tough time. I have a very tough time believing that even Jeff Flake, and I could be wrong, but he could never have been impeached, because he should have done is just fire Mueller and have Democrats go absolutely nuts, and it would never have gotten through the House because they didn't have the numbers in the House. I think that when you look now, Trump missed his opportunity. That's just, he missed his opportunity because he was. How much worse could the media madness have been? How much worse? Look, October 3rd. Oh no, I'm sorry. Was it August 3rd or June? June, July, August. On August 3rd, beginning of August, the polls actually showed only a 3-point for Congress and the House. The Democrats were only up around 3.9 points. From that point until midterms, it was non-stop media insanity. The Pyrrhic victory they had, because it's going to end up with them losing 2020. Stick says that, and I believe that also. Is that now they're going to have to deliver on their promises that were trumpeted and communicated through the media. The same media that went absolutely berserk regarding Trump. But the whole thing is, well, you don't want to deal with the repercussions. The repercussions of oh, I know. Robbie D, I know. Jeff Flake thinks he's like the man. So does Kasich. So does Sass. They all think that because they don't realize Democrats hate them. As absolutely, Assange is a publisher. He added, while political opponents might warrant investigation if they do something criminal, even then, you do so very, very carefully because of possible allegations that you're doing something. You're going after your political rises for no reason whatsoever. No, not no reason whatsoever, James Comey. All Trump needs to do is to say this: James Comey covered up Clinton's emails. He did. There you go. And the indictment is long overdue. And if you want to protect Clinton, and you want to say the indictment, they're going to take it to the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision. Clinton will lose. It will be cataclysmic for them. They're not going to talk about Medicare for all, not that they're even serious. But Trump has to do this for the future of the Republican Party. Republicans are too stupid to realize this. They think that they're still living in the 90s or the 80s, where, if you just the people will just want to change. And it's true to an extent, but if Trump wasn't the candidate, you would have had probably 8 years of Clinton. Press 78 if 8 years of Clinton gives you nightmares. Press 78 right now if 8 years of President Hillary Clinton would give you nightmares. Yes. That's what you would have. You would have 8 years of Madam exactly. Look at that. So without Trump, you have 8 years of Clinton. Someone tell that to Jeff Flake and Jeff McDaniel 100. Thank you. Nothing hidden will not be revealed. Nothing hidden will not be revealed. Happy Thanksgiving, Ichi. They may not even control the House after the report on election fraud due 45 days after the election comes out. That would be wonderful. There is so much election fraud. I'm not even going to harp on it, although it would help me. The fraud was just unbelievable. So, Cankles. Jeff McDaniel 100. Yeah. There's just some of Broward County. There are probably numerous Broward counties. When was the last time you had an election where, Republicans were leading in early voting and then suddenly lost by the margin they did? That's bizarre. Oh, my chichingness. Yes. Chichingness. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Nothing hidden. Trump right now, Trump is playing for keeps now. He has to act decisively, and he has to just accept. The media is going to call him a tyrant. The media, they're going to take it to the Supreme Court. They're going to impeach Trump. This is what they're going to do. They're going to impeach Trump. They're going to take it to the Supreme Court. They're going to say that Hillary Clinton, that the indictment filing, the papers should be ripped up. And by the way, it's going to be a sea change in American politics. Suddenly, the Teflon Clintons will have received what they've deserved forever, which is, an indictment on their criminal behavior. Christian Saucier was ripped away from his family, a sailor. He was a sailor ripped away from his family for a year, his daughter and his wife. Okay. So, and here you have, and this for a picture within a submarine. I think it's a very, very serious one that requires a delicate touch. Oh, gee, thanks. Bush's attorney general. My sense is that the president often says things that reflect frustration, maybe a little bit desperation, but nothing really comes of it. Well, we might all be surprised. Listen, I can't disagree with Bush's attorney general on this because it hasn't happened yet. I love Alan Dershowitz, but it's a terrible mistake. You don't want to weaponize political differences, but they've done that, Professor Dershowitz. And they've gotten away with it, although he added he did not believe such a move would be grounds for impeachment. Nice. Well, there you go. Wouldn't be grounds for impeachment, but they'll impeach him anyway, which would actually make it even more hilarious. Man, looking back, Trump should have, when he had the House, he should have just fired Mueller. Let him. This is the thing. You sometimes in life, if it's not a life or death situation, but in life, call a person's bluff. It could be in the poker table. It could be call their bluff. What do you care? I have a tape of you. I have a tape of you in a romantic episode, with a gerbil. Go ahead, put it up. See what it might help my YouTube channel, whatever. I have a tape of you, pictures. I'm going to unleash. You're going to be so embarrassed. What do I care? Go ahead, do it. That's what you need to do. If someone threatens you in life, be like, whatever, go do it. Who cares? It's 2018. Anything goes. Avenatti's still running for president. Hello. Avenatti's still running for president. Do you think nothing's gonna, they don't even know what hypocrisy and irony mean. They don't know. They don't care. Everything goes. There's no more decorum. There's no nothing. They think it's like, the Access Hollywood tape. No, it's actually liberals. It's actually the left. Gail. Thank you, Gail. Yeah. Yeah. Stephanie Gonzalez, happy Thanksgiving. Good work. That's right. Stephanie, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Gail. So, Jim Summers. Still, wow. 15-term who was +8 in the polls. Representative, Republican ballots not counted, tracking numbers equal. That's right. Jim Summers, they did a number. They did a number. Still 4 OC districts. Yep. That's right. 15-term, Republican was up. And he had an early voting lead. And Republicans in California not only had an early voting lead, there was a report out that stated that it would take a miracle. It had to have taken a miracle because Republicans had an early voting lead in those districts. And people weren't voting at record pace early voting. It would take a miracle. Exactly, Anna. Great point. It would take a miracle in the OC. I just think that there was so much election fraud. And people say, well, how can you prove it? Well, yeah, because things don't make sense. When things don't make sense at all, you have an early voting lead for 2 weeks, and then suddenly they win by the margin they won. And Broward County is just a microcosm. And then they have to, there's recounts everywhere until they get their desired outcome. So, and then you had a Republican in Utah lose. The Democrats were desperate. Then you had 2-to-1 spending. You had 2-to-1 spending and you had the media. Look, Trump needs to, and I agree with you. Samuel, thank you. Jim, thank you. I agree with you, Jim. And this is what they need to do. What Trump needs to do. Indicting Clinton is not going to, first of all, indicting Clinton is not going to stop her from running in 2020. So that, we can forget that. She can risk actual jail time. She could risk actual prison time. They don't care. They'll vote for her anyway. Because they'll be like, you're not going to stop us. She's the most qualified. She's the most qualified. So she'll run anyway, even if she's indicted. And they'll vote for her because she can still raise the money. Just because, look, Wingless Angel, happy Thanksgiving, we love you. Just because Trump and the Trump DOJ eventually indicts Clinton, and oh my goodness, all the hit pieces written on me because of that. All the hit pieces written on me. That doesn't mean that the Clinton Foundation is going to cease to exist. That doesn't mean the money-making apparatus is going to cease to exist. This is going to be litigated for years and years. But at least we will know that somebody is not above the law. The rule of law. Nobody is going to say, even Alan Dershowitz, who knows the law better than anyone, just stated right now it's not an impeachable offense. That doesn't matter. He also stated firing Mueller is not an impeachable offense. They're still going to impeach Trump. This whole segment was about Democratic Party and liberal hypocrisy. And they have no concept of irony. They have no concept of hypocrisy. They have no concept of, they say one thing, but then they do another thing, and they act another way. Whether it warrants impeachment or not, this is a trap, a political trap. If President Trump, his DOJ, if Matthew Whitaker simply follows the evidence, they have a new FBI director. You don't even need Christopher Wray. You can actually use James Comey's original findings, and you use Peter Strzok's the text before Peter Strzok deleted references to gross negligence. Then you go through U.S. Code 793F, or you talk about RICO statutes, which Rudy Giuliani talked about. She lives for Jesus. I want Julian free. That whole thing is like, I want Julian Assange free. He deserves freedom, and he's battling. I think eventually he'll gain his freedom. Eventually he'll be victorious. I believe that. Not for the whole trust the plan stuff. That I don't believe. But I do believe because he's in the UK, and any extradition would have to, the UK would then be a part of any international law that they'd be breaking. So they couldn't just extradite immediately. It would take 2 years or so. And I think that within that time in the UK, he would win. Definitely not because, Assange, would be extradited here and then everything would be, roses and no. That's horrible. But it's just, they're ready. So the Washington Post. How is this even a story? Hannity yawns at report on Trump's desire to prosecute Clinton Comey. Well, we already knew that. We live in a democracy, and you don't go after political rivals, says Bush's former attorney general, unless it's Trump, and unless it's Obama going after Trump with the Steele dossier and a drunken conversation between Alexander Donner. One of the most blatant examples yet of how Mr. Trump used the typically independent. Notice they can't say completely independent because of Obama's administration. Typically independent to be wielded against his political enemies. No, it's not. Clinton is not a political enemy. She just happened to commit crime. She's actually a criminal. Actually, a walking criminal. She's, like the song "Smooth Criminal." She's a sloppy criminal. So, and I love Alan Dershowitz. He's great, and he even said it wouldn't even if Clinton does get indicted by Whitaker, it's not impeachable. But he goes, if you don't like what people have done, run against them. Yeah, Trump did, and he got the Steele dossier, which was purchased by Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton purchased her a Russian hacking myth and a Trump Russia collusion myth, and they still believe it. You have Democrats believing it, and the Democrats who believe it and know it's not true, they don't care. Just want to believe something. You use political weapons, do not use the criminal justice system. No, I believe you use if someone's a criminal, then you use the criminal justice system. And even Tom Fitton the other day, I was watching his. He's like, yeah, she could still get indicted. I was like, yes, yes, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll eventually be vindicated. And who cares about me? I'm just a little tiny voice buzzing around in the political sphere. And people are like, he's a good lunatic. H.A. Goodman's a lunatic. I'm just a political voice buzzing around. Let's Eric H526, we love you. Thank you. 12B engineer. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Scientists acknowledge key error in studies of how fast the oceans are warming. Wow. A major study claimed the oceans were warming much faster than previously thought, but researchers now say they can't necessarily make the claim. Wow. Oh, wow. Hillary Clinton. Europe must. This is so great. She's still in the news. Look, what would be better than because Clinton getting indicted doesn't mean anything really. She'll still be in the news. She'll still raise money. It'll just be vindication in many, many ways. And it'll be proof that her crimes did not go unnoticed. But it'll be fantastic to get the media and the Democratic Party defending a criminal, because that you really defend a criminal. Well, yeah, I'm looking at Twitter. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be very, very interesting. This year is going to be exciting. Luke St. Martin! Giving thanks to all the patrons. I'm thankful for this channel and its subscribers. Thankful for its awesome host. And we're thankful to you, Luke St. Martin. Thanks for just being an amazing moderator, along with our moderators. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you so very much for being just so awesome always. And it's going to be really great. I think this is going to be a really, really wonderful Gail. What about the CO2 emissions from Cali fires? Yeah. Gail, thank you. Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Everyone, happy Thanksgiving. And this is Chris Patterson about 6 months ago. Well, completely become a Trump supporter. Madge Mac sending tapes of Whitaker voice. What you have to find out. I got to find out how he speaks. I've heard him before. I forgot exactly. Luke St. Martin, thank you. Everyone, thank you. To my super chat, thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Get ready for a really wonderful 2019. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. It will be very, very, very interesting. Thanks so much, everyone. And God bless. Have a great evening. Thank you.